There we go. Okay, so when we have the energy of being in a rush, when we're hurrying, what we're actually doing, no matter what the task is that we're giving our nervous system a cue that all is not well. That we have to, it stimulates the fight or flight response. Not super grand, it's not like we're running away from the tiger, but it stimulates that sympathetic nervous system, and it can get us trapped in a cycle of never being able to really drop down into a safe and social place. So if when we're thinking about the polyvagal ladder, we would be always ramped up and not be able to really get into that place where we can be fully present. And of course, our yoga practice is a deep gift of training us to know this space, to understand what it feels like to be in the space of being instead of doing. Um, but sometimes you jump out of shavasana and off you go, right? And it's like, oh, got to get going. I have this, and this. Um, and even if you don't have this, and this, you might have the feeling of I have a lot on my mind, or there's a lot going on. So, how do we shift this? And I think there's a deep practice to be had when you're driving your car and you are not getting somewhere fast enough because the traffic is slow. When you're cooking your dinner, to slow down and pay attention to every chop of your knife. When you're eating your meal, to savor it in the sense of every bite. So ultimately, it's cultivating mindfulness moment by moment throughout the day. And when we do this, we automatically slow down that rushing. We automatically bring our nervous system down. So even though we may not feel like we're accomplishing as much, or we still have more to do, we're going to go through our days with much more pleasantness, right? And peacefulness and awareness of all the sacredness of the moments instead of just clicking through the paces. So I don't know if this resonates with any of you. It certainly does with me. I tend to, yeah, right. It's one of those things that kind of, I think our culture kind of pushes us into this rush. When I was driving home yesterday from the mountains last night, twice we saw, like a sign, one of those electronic signs that said something of, you know, relax, chill out and relax. You'll eventually get there. And I'd never seen that on the highway before on 285, where there was a sign just saying, everybody just chill out. Like it's going to be okay. You're going to get to where you're going, whether you pass people or not. So take a look at this for yourself, and notice the small little ways where rushing energy, hurrying energy disturbs your sense of peace. And chances are saving 30 seconds is not going to make or break your day, but getting into a nervous system state that's peaceful will make your day. All right. Okay, so let's be so joyful and grateful for our practice that teaches us this lesson. So come into a comfortable way of being and find a seat that makes you feel good in your body, where you feel supported and comfortable. And maybe move around on that seat just to know, maybe rock back and forth, a little bit of a seated cat cow, perhaps, or a little movement. So you can just really sense, oh, this is the pedestal of my pelvis that I'm resting upon, and I can drop my roots. And can you feel the sense of the crown and the tail, finding this beautiful alignment, connecting with the energies above and below? Can you feel the widening of the heart space? That sense of opening the doors and letting that big, spacious energy find its way, wide open spaces. And then melt into the surrender of all this space that you're feeling. Can you relax through your face, relieving expression? Can you let the shoulders kind of drape down your back a little bit more. Is there room to breathe? And probably the greatest tool we have to connect us into present moment awareness and take us away from the hurrying energy, the rushing, is to pay attention and slow down the breath. So practice here. Maybe give that cue that the exhale can just be ever so slightly longer than the inhale. And even if it's not longer, feel that it is. Like release slowly and steadily into your exhale. Just as you kind of feel yourself surrender into the hour of your yoga practice, can you also just surrender moment by moment? Notice if your nervous system is starting to calm, if you're tending to that sense of creating safe and social in your body and in your mind. Notice what this feels like. Is it a state that you'd like to cultivate more? Is it a place that you'd like to reside within? When you're ready, bring your palms together at your heart. Feel your thumbs move just slightly away from your heart so you can magnetize your heart and let it expand outward toward your thumbs a little bit more. And in the space, create intention. When you slow down, what's here? What are you feeling when you're in a being state instead of a doing state? Relax your hands. And let's find our way onto our back. All right, so as you lengthen on your mat, take a moment before you do anything else to just feel your body ground, to just feel your body come into the state of horizontal. Notice the shifting of your bones and of your joints and how you reorient yourself. Your body reorients with gravity. Have a breath here. Be very conscious to exhale and melt as best. All right, and then reach your arms overhead and feel that beginning stretch of reaching the right side and reaching the left side and just enjoying that opening of the body. Bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Check in with your back, your shoulders, your neck, your head. How's everything feeling? And then hang on to your knees and let's circle, kind of rolling in one direction. And then rolling in the other direction. And opening up and bringing your knees away from the midline and back toward. Just enjoying kind of opening up right through the rims of your hip joints. And then right knee into your chest, left leg long on the ground. Let's move in your ankles now and your feet. I'm just warming up little nooks and crannies, all your joint spaces. Feel a good compression in your knee, a good compression in your hip. And then let's switch sides. Left knee in, right leg long on the ground. And again, feeling into that range of motion that's available in your ankles and your toes. And then let's move back and forth between hugging your right knee in and hugging your left knee in. And feel the big stretch of the back of your knee as you lengthen the leg.
Feel the good compression in your hip and your knee as you pull that knee in. Just that opening and closing of your knees and your hip joints. How's your breath? You're starting to kind of heat up the core, just a little bit of awareness of the center body. This is also really good for your organs, kind of just giving them a little massage as we go. All right, and then release that and stretch your limbs wide open spaces again. Reach into your fingers and your toes. And then exhale and draw your knees in. Lift up your head so your back opens up a little bit more. One more time, expanding, open to a big star on the ground. And then exhale. Knees coming in, pick up your head. Put your feet on the ground, arms out to the side like a T. And let's just rock our knees left and then right. And just kind of opening up with this twisting the fronts of the pelvis a little bit, maybe the ribs, maybe the spine are getting a little bit of mobility. And we're gonna roll all the way over to our right side. Bring your knees and your feet together, right angles at hips and knees, palms together. Inhale, open up to a big twist, turn your head, and then exhale, bring your hands back. And just feeling, we're moving up the body now to open things up, moving through the spine, feeling that connection of the ribs and the spine. Maybe one more time, opening up to a twist, and then exhale and bringing those hands together. When you feel ready, you can bring your body over to the other side, knees together, feet together, right angles at knees and hips, palms together. And then open up like a book, turning your head all the way, bringing your hand back, and then touching your hands again. And just very carefully being aware of how each of your spinal joints are finding their sense of openness, your chest, even your shoulders starting to open up a little bit here. Even let your spine twist all the way to your head. So, you might notice what's happening in your neck in this position. And then we'll roll back onto our back and stretch big and wide one more time. Exhale, knees into your chest. Let your spine round. Roll over onto your side and come up to your hands and your knees. Okay. All right. So take a moment to feel where you are, to maybe feel that yielding. Yielding to me is another deep way of kind of coming into that mindfulness of present moment. Where am I in space? When you feel the weight of your body drop down into the earth. So I'm kind of rocking into my right knee and right hand, and then pushing off into my left knee and left hand. Remember that your elbow joints, when they're unlocked, you're going to have a little more give into the ground, a little more rebound to push to the other side. Same with your knees. As one knee drops, notice how the hip receives. And then as you bear weight into your other knee, notice how the hip receives. It is so simple. Where's the ground? Can you feel your body weight drop deeper in and then push off? And now let's find that yielding for, instead of going into left hand, left knee, and then right hand, right knee, move your weight into your right hand and then drop it into your right knee and into your left knee and into your left hand. Remember, unlock your shoulders, your elbows, your hips. Try to have your joints receive the yielding. Receive and then push off. Drop in and then push off. A very subtle thing. And switch directions. We'll move, toward left hand, then left knee, and then right knee, and right hand. And you can go slower than that pace, faster. Try not to go too fast. Remember, we're training ourselves to slow down. This is probably one of my favorite gifts that yoga and the way that we practice offers us, is this slowing down. Come back towards child's pose. Drop your weight toward your heels and just maneuver around. Maybe you want to wag your tail and move your spine, even here in this pose. Do you need some wiggles? You need some stillness. How are your shoulders? Maybe you can kind of stretch one hand out there a little further and then the other. And spread your hands really wide. Feel the openness across your palms. Drop your heels. Take a deep breath. Relax your arms a little bit. Walk them over to one side of your mat or the other so you can open up your side body. Feel the roots of your finger pads ground you so that you can open up from that closed chain of rooting into the earth, opening through the whole rib cage all the way down to the hip. Walk your hands to the other side, feeling that deep width and length across your rib cage. Let your breath come in deeply. Just notice what's here. Root through your finger pad. Feel that openness across your whole entire side, down to your hip. Notice your breath. And then come back to center, up onto all fours. Maybe you wag your tail, maybe you do some circles. And then we'll find our way into the fullness of a cat-cow, arching the back, tail up, chin up, rounding the spine, tail down, head down. And just see what it feels like to feel the fullness of your vertebral movements. Notice how your ribs and your shoulder blades relate to your thoracic spine. Notice how your breath filters through your body as you move. And then any kind of movement you want to do, let the pose unfurl in any way that feels really good to your spine, to your breath, to your body. Curl the toes under, spread open the bottom of your feet, drop back a little bit towards child's pose with the feet nice and open. Spread those toes wide, spread your hands wide. And come back up onto all fours, maybe a little tap with your feet. Inhale your left arm up in the air, feel that chest open. Exhale and thread the needle. Let your head rest on the ground. Open up through your ribs, enjoy the deeper twisting down. And now the arm up to the sky, hand down onto the ground, switching sides, lifting that arm up. Exhale, sliding that arm underneath. Gaze toward the floor. Breathing deeply, feeling the rib cage open up. Feeling the neck relax softly. And inhale, reaching the arm high again to the sky. Hand down onto the ground and find dog pose. So just notice, are you here? Are these subtle little openings that we do to open our body up, bringing you into embodiment, into present moment, into breath. Let's be so thankful for these gifts. All right, so we drop our weight, the same yielding we did on all fours. Let's see if we can find it here. Maybe drop one heel down and drop the other heel down. Notice the weight through your hands. Can you feel that you're kind of sinking into earth like roots dropping from a plant? Feel the roots drop down, but feel also the rising up, that balancing act of root to rise, opening up through your body. Once you come into a little bit of external stillness, feel the internal movement. Roll the skin and the weight of your fingers toward your index finger mounds. Feel the fullness of your hands yield down. Push off the ground and lengthen through your shoulders. Can you feel the shoulder blades slide a little bit? Are your ribs able to lift toward the pelvis? How are the legs feeling? Can you drop the heels and lift the sit bones? Can you draw your femur bones up and back? Are the weight of your body spreading across your toes evenly? How's your breath? Alright, and when you feel ready, walk your feet forward, come to Uttanasana, bend your knees as much as you want to. Feel free to rock and sway and wiggle and swish, anything that feels good in your hips, your shoulders, your neck, your whole spine. Okay, inhale for a halfway lift, grow a little bit longer, legs get straighter, feel the backs of your knees open up, drop your heels. And then exhale and bend, soften again, melt. Be very gentle with yourself as you come up. Maybe you know need a little time to be unhurried to let your blood pressure kind of find its place as you stand up. As you're here, just notice your body in space. Turn your palms to face forward so the heads of the arm bones stay broad. Open up through your breathing. Let's just bounce here a little bit. Maybe you want to shake your hands. Maybe you want to wiggle. Maybe you want your exhales to be a little broader. Maybe you want to jump. Maybe you want to just sway from side to side. Let your breath come deep. Let your exhales be long. Maybe vocalize a little bit. Shake your hands real vigorously for a moment. Just get any little stagnant energy out of your hands. And then come to stillness and just notice your body. Notice your breath. Notice where your mind is living. Find your sense of Tadasana, unlocking the knees, feeling the weight of your body evenly across your feet, yielding. Ready? Reach the arms up, a big open sweep, lift the heart. Just decide to keep your heart lifting. Imagine that, there's all this energy, this upward energy that you can expand into the day, into the light, into the sun, into the sky. Just to open up that heart. Choose to keep the heart broad. It's a choice. It's always a choice, right? All right, let's cactus open the shoulders, the elbows, squeeze the back body a little bit. Just say hello back there. And then exhale and round in, forearms come to touch. Inhale, reaching high, maybe a little bit of a leaning back. Heart stays broad, the swan dive forward, fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Gathering all the length in your body. Exhale and melt back down. Let's step the left foot back, the right foot's in front, and we're going to come to a lunge. Something so simple, we do this all the time. What's here? Can you feel the enjoyment of having your body opening up? Heart forward. All right, let's go ahead and bend and straighten the front knee. Every time you feel a new sensation, so maybe your hips or your hamstrings are giving you some feedback right now, just let it be an opportunity to be fully embodied, fully present in this moment. Mindfulness is such a gift, but really is something we need to cultivate. It's a practice to cultivate. It doesn't just happen, sadly, right? We have way too many distractions and opportunities to take us away from center. Let's just use our practice to bring us home, back to center. When you feel ready, ground yourself in your lunge instead of moving. Decide where you want your hands to be. Feel the weight of your feet drop down into the earth. Are you in the placement of your feet that's going to support you if you rise up? So ground. And then inhale and reach up. And if you need to, you can always hold on to something. You can keep your hands down. You can reach your arms up in the air. To feel that sense of deep roots through both feet. Can you make the choice to keep the heart expansive and open? Full breaths here. Release the hands down, back foot comes forward. Hold deeply. Let your feet be hip width apart. Grab onto the base of your skull with your hands. Have just a teeny bit of a tug down toward the ground and draw your chin toward your chest. And release. Come to a halfway lift. Spine is growing again, spacious and free. Exhale. Melting down, left foot in front, right foot gets back there. Come to a lunge. Feel the heart expand and open here. Shoulder blades down the back, round your feet. Let's start to move, bending and straightening the front knee. Remember, there's so many ways to go about this. You can lift your toes and let your calf open up. You can just go a little bit of a movement. It doesn't have to be huge. Keep the hips as square as you can get. Decide how much dropping through your spine you want to do. At the very least, let your head be at ease when you straighten that leg. Find your lunge again. Ground yourself. Feel your roots. Start to engage your core as you're settling your roots down. Come on up. Again, your arms can stay down. Your arms can come up or anywhere in between. Feel that big open heart. Expand here. Round into both feet. Feel your roots. Feel the rising. Full breaths. And then release your hands down. Front foot comes back. Let's find dog pose, feeling that full body posture. Yield. And then push off to feel the length and space. Roll the skin of your fingers toward your index fingers. Feel your thumbnails drop into the four corners of your hands and across your toe bends. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Hold that sturdy, steady plank in your body. Push the floor away a little bit. Let your yielding give way to a little bit more of a push. Still feel the index finger mounds finding the ground. Breathing well. All right, we'll put our knees down onto the ground. Find the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times here. Inhale, open up through a cobra pose. Open breath. Exhale, coming back down. One more time. Rising up. Exhale. Lowering back down. Take your right forearm out in front of you. Reach back and grab your left ankle or your left toes or use a strap. Tailbone descending toward your knees. Pubic bone toward your navel. Press your thigh a little bit into the ground, the pelvis a little bit into the ground, opening up through those that quad. Again, every time you feel a strong sensation, let yourself just feel into the presence, the mindfulness of embodiment. Switch sides when you feel ready. Stabilize your pelvis. Draw your heel toward your pelvis. Lengthen your thigh. Breathing well. Your torso can be very low toward the ground. You can also just have a slight lift of the heart, a lift of the head if you want to. Be very mindful to not compress your low back. And then release the legs down. Take your arms down at your sides, palms facing the ground. Inhale, lift everything up, up, up. Engage your glutes, your back muscles, your shoulders, your hamstrings. And then exhale and release. Come up on tall fours and move your spine around, finding breath. Spread through your hands and lift to a dog pose. Again, if you want movement, find movement. Start to feel those roots. Feel the rising, root to rise. Then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Spine is growing. Exhale and melt again. Push off your feet. Lifting the heart.
Lifting the arms, exhale, back to Tadasana. Eyes closed or eyes open, your choice. Arms down or palms together, your choice. Stay open in the heart. Pay attention to your breath. We'll have 3 rounds of just this simple breath practice. As you inhale, let's pull our hands apart from the midline, away from each other. And as you exhale, hands slowly coming back toward each other. Remember, your exhales might be better served breathing out through your nose. They also might be better served through pursed lips if you need to have a little sense of control. Three breaths, just release your hands down and pause in Tadasana one more time. Turn to the long edge of your mat. Okay. And we're gonna get wider, but let's start with just some simple rocking from one side to the other. Let your core kind of give it a little massage. Imagine that your internal organs are just getting wrung out just a little bit. So when we start this with our arms down, let your hips go in opposition. So as you turn right, navel turns left. As you turn left, navel turns right. So you just feel that, kind of twisting in the body. We're not going to stay with this rhythm. How's your breath? All right, now our arms are going to come a little wider, and we're going to let our navel follow our shoulders. You can pick up your heel and just let your body find that rotation. Okay, arms up. Back. We're going to get a little wider through our legs now. Wider through your legs. Squat and open up. Squat and open up. Still just finding this nice, warming, energizing movement in the body. Okay, and now come to a squat and stay really low with the arms. Slow it down a little. Find your breath. Maybe your arms want to move slightly differently. And eventually coming into center, elbows inside knees, lean forward a little bit. Drop weight into the 4 corners of your feet. Let your torso move down toward the ground, whatever way it wants to. And all the way back, standing up. Okay. Standing star, find stillness again. If you're dizzy at all from the movement, from the dropping down, from the coming back up, give yourself time. Remember, we're unhurried. We're moving our body, sometimes slowly, sometimes rapidly. We're breathing slowly, we're breathing a little faster. No matter what we're doing, we can find that sense of just presence. Bring your arms up if you feel comfy. Standing star. All right, arms come down. We're going to turn our right foot out. Urdhva Konasana, elbow on your knee. Stretch that arm overhead and feel the yumminess of this pose. The deep roots, the reaching outward into space. Organize your legs so you have a deep grounding of your feet, a stability in your pelvis, length in your spine, evenness in your rib cage. How's your breath? Keep kind of exploring sensations in the body instead of just collapsing and sinking. Root into the feet. Open up those hips. Try to find that external rotation of the front leg. Draw your left thigh bone way back.
feel that you're even across your rib cage instead of kind of leaning up into that top rib. All right, reverse your warrior. Open up, reach the other side. So now our right arm is extending. Straighten the leg and find your way into triangle pose. Bring your hand onto your leg or onto a block and open up here. Dropping the shoulders, feeling that heart lift. Maybe your eyes gaze upward, maybe your eyes gaze downward, maybe your eyes gaze forward. Root into the back foot to anchor the pose, still feeling that deep length in the spine. Nestle your right femur bone up into the hip joint and externally rotate it. Root into the big toe mound again. All the way back up. Standing up again, we're going to slowly turn our feet to the other side. Parsva Konasana. Give yourself a moment before you come down into the pose to just organize yourself. Like, oh, my hips are going to be this way now. My orientation is this way now. Okay, so bend your knee. Place your elbow on your knee. You can always put your hand on a block on the inside or outside of your leg as well. Your choice. Shoulders away from the ears, even lengthen the sides of your body. Try not to hunker one side over. See if you can feel the reach through both sides. Ground into the four corners of your feet. Feel that rooting into the length. Root down, lengthen forward. Or not forward, but out. Reach into that hand, reach through the ribs. Move the tail toward the back foot. Feel that external rotation of the front leg. So there's a lot of work in that hip. Breathing deeply and fully. Just explore the sensations of this pose. Take your right thigh bone back. Find all your little ways. Let's reverse. Reaching that left arm up to the sky. Stay in your lunge. Feel your ribs. And then straighten that leg and reach out over to come into triangle pose. Hand down onto a block, arm in the air. Maybe your hand is on your leg and not on the block. Move your shoulder blades down the back, rotate your ribs, feel the rooting into your feet. Keep your spine long, tail away from head, head away from tail. Check in with not overbearing the stretch of your hamstring at your sit bones. So you want to ground into your big toe to feel a little support. Unlock your knee so it's not hyperextended in the posture. And come all the way back up. Turn your feet straight one more time. Standing star. Find your breath. Come back to the right. Turn your right foot out, pointing to the short edge of your mat. Your back foot can be straight along that edge of the back of the short edge of the mat, or you can turn your toes in, whatever feels good. Find your breath, arms coming up, and then exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Such a power pose. Root into your legs. Feel the expanse. Make the choice to keep the heart lifted. Finding your breath. Shoulder blades firm on the ribs. Feel the collarbones stretch to the fingers. Engage your deltoids. Root into your feet. Relax your arms. Let's turn our feet the other side. Always modify anything that you need. So when you come into this posture, if your shoulders are like, oh, this hurts, then you can put your arms down. You can have your hands to your heart or palms together. You don't have to have your arms out, and you can have one arm out. Like, let's say you have a shoulder that's a little fatigued by this. Drop weight into your feet. Feel the lift of the heart, the lift of the crown, the drop of the tail.
Stretch out from your heart to your hands and feel your roots. Finding full breaths. Coming back, turn your feet forward again. Come down, wide legs, hands can be on ground or floor, whatever feels right, or ground or blocks, I should say, whatever feels right to you. Thigh bones back, shin bones a little bit forward, let your back open up. All right, turn back to the front of your mat for a dog pose. And just enjoy your body, your legs in a more neutral place. Finding breath. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Holding yourself steady. Push that ground away. Weight into your index fingers. Knees down. Find the ground. Any back bend of your choosing. What do you feel like doing? What feels good in your body right now? Come up on all fours. Wag your tail. Shimmy your ribs. Feel your breath. And then come back towards child's pose. Now, we're going to come back up to standing in a moment, but first, we're going to find pigeon pose. So, right leg is going to come forward first. If you need support with blankets or blocks, take it. If you need to do reverse pigeon pose, come onto your back. Right leg in front, left leg behind. Feel into whatever support you need for this posture. Open up your body, feeling that extension and length. So stay up first before we come down. What's happening in your hip? And as you come forward, take a block, put it under your head, maybe 2 blocks, so that you're long in your spine instead of rounded, and that your forehead has support. So what can you do to surrender into this posture? Can you use your breath? Is there a way to relax your shoulders a little bit more to feel the balance of your pelvis? So try not to lean into the right hip, but square up the pelvis. A little bit of your left inner thigh lifts toward the sky. Lengthen your spine. Wide sit bones. Back up. Swing the back leg forward or come out of the posture however you like. Maybe you like to do a dog pose in between. If you're on your back, you can just switch to your other side. And don't assume the 2 sides are the same because they very rarely are. You might have different needs with your hip, your knee, your ankle, your back, your SI joint on this side. Extend before you come down. Yeah, sometimes I like to put my hands on blocks so that there's just this really strong upward sensation. It might even be helpful to hug your knees into your pelvis so there's some support, some engagement, and then you can release and lengthen your body forward. Head on a block or blocks or fists or ground, whatever support is there. Hips are square, wide sit bones. Extend the spine. Perhaps be a little active with your foot to see, if your heel is very close to your pubic bone, you can kind of point your toes. But if you're more at a right angle where your heel is pulled out away from your pubic bone, try pulling the outer edge of your foot, your pinky toe side of your foot, up toward your outer left knee. A long spine. Don't forget about your breath, that fullness of your inhales, the long, steady exhales.
Let's come out of that posture. Move your props out of the way.
And let's come to a dog pose. So if you're on your back, just roll over, find your way, take your time, no rushing.
And feel your way into the fullness of a dog pose. Open up the backs of your knees, maybe pedaling your feet a little bit. Feeling your feet open up, your hips, your knees, everything opening up. Walk our feet forward. Bend your knees a lot so you let your back open. Inhale for a halfway lift. And then climb all the way up.
We're gonna do a little balance work. So you can do this pose with your buttocks against a wall or holding something if you need to. We're gonna come into figure four. So we're just like pigeon pose, but we're gonna be standing, or like reverse pigeon pose, but we're gonna be standing. Right foot is grounding into the earth. Put your left foot on top of your right knee as we squat down. So right above your knee goes your foot. Now notice if you kind of do weird things, if you're like, all over the map with moving your pelvis, try to keep your pelvis square to the front. Draw your femur bones deep into the hip joints, widen your sit bones, stick your stinger out behind you a little bit. Maybe your arms reach up. Maybe you're more comfortable with your hands together or even your arms out. You can lean forward, lengthening your spine. You can bring your hands down onto the ground. You can find your way into an arm balance if you want to. Just see what's here. Wide sit bones, femur bones back, spacious spine. And then unwind the posture. Lift your knee, arms up, hands together, foot down onto the ground. Big breaths. Before we repeat the second side, feel the grounding of your 2 feet. Slow your breath down if it got a little ahead of you. And let's do 3 rounds of that moving hands breath again. So as we inhale, the hands come away from each other. And as we exhale, bring your hands back toward each other. Big movements, small movements, whatever feels natural to you. 3 rounds. Slowly exhale down, maybe through pursed lips if you need it. It doesn't matter how fast or slow the breath rhythm is, just try to slow it down just the teeniest bit. Not to a point where you're struggling, just to a place of remembering. Here we are, right here. And you're done with 3 rounds of that breath. Bring your hands down. Let's come up onto our toes and back onto our heels and just know the earth. Feel the grounding. All right, we're going to put our weight into our left foot. Remember, you can hold on or stick your butt against a wall. We will squat like a chair. Try not to stick your hip out to the side. Keep your hips in line with your shoulders, squaring them to the front. Drop down in. Maybe your arms come out for some extra balance. Maybe your palms are together. Maybe your arms reach up. Maybe you lean forward. Maybe you don't. Okay, so just be where you are. Open up the breath. Steady exhales. A soft gaze. Notice how different your 2 sides might feel. Slowly lifting your arms, lifting that knee up. Place your foot down, arms down at your sides. Take a little wider stance than you might. And just feel grounded. Shoot your strong leg energy down into the earth. Have your legs wide enough in your stance where you feel really solid, where if somebody came and tried to knock you off your kilter, they wouldn't succeed. Unlock your knees a bit. Feel a sense of grounding. Recover your breath if the challenge of balance takes a toll on your sense of ease. Bring yourself back into ease. Find yourself so rooted that nothing could disturb your sense of solidity. Stand your ground. Let's come back onto the ground now. So bring yourself to the floor, onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Maybe a bit of rocking. Maybe you'd rather have your feet on the floor and be windshield wipering. Whatever feels good. All right, and then eventually we're all going to meet here with our arms out like a T if that's comfortable, feet on the ground, and your feet can be a little wider or a little closer. Imagine yourself resting on the earth itself, maybe some nice soft grass, big blue sky with puffy clouds overhead, the sun just right, cool breeze. Melt your body. Give way to presence. Find a twist here. So hips a little bit to the right, knees up and drop a little bit to the left. And open up across your heart. Let the back of your hand rest on the earth. Let your head be heavy. Turn your head toward your hand. Feel into the presence of the fullness of your inhale and exhale. Center. Scoot the hips to the left. Knees up and drop them right. Turn your head. Let the back of your hand rest on the ground. Shoulders heavy. Full breaths here. Find the full inhale. Find the full exhale. Your knees. Come back to neutral. Shavasana. Now you get to decide any support that you want. Do you need something underneath your knees? Do you need some weight, like a weighted blanket on your body? Do you need support under your head? Do you need lights turned out? What do you need for a couple of minutes of rest? And as you settle your body, dropping, feel the weight of your head. Feel the surrender through your shoulders. Let your breath be deep and full. Melt through your face.
On breath. Be still for a moment. Feel your body. Slowly invite a little movement in, whatever it is that your body is needing. Eventually finding your side. Take your time. For a seated posture, slowly, slowly. Palms together at your heart. Notice your grounding, your sense of presence. Let's offer this gift, one of the greatest gifts we can give everyone in our life is to slow down, to be unhurried. And another person's presence is a gift of our nervous system to theirs. Truly, one of the greatest gifts we can give is patient presence to self and others. To offer this to another. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.